Here, as I said, now I just showed a little process here that I have for plumb hinging. So what I do is I get out a panel, and like so, it's exactly the height of a door, which is 715, and there's 2 hinges on it. So in my case, I'm going to put the hinges in at around 75 to 80 mil from top and bottom. So first of all, I set the drill to the depth, which is this distance back here, which is crucial for the plating. So in my case, I use it's around 27/8 of an inch, so it's 22 millimeters. You can be a bit less, but with the plumb hinge likes the 7/8 distance, so that gives a margin on the front there of about 3/16 of an inch or 4 mil. It can be lesser, the hinge is adjustable, but I prefer just to have a little bit of meat at the edge there. So what I do is I set up the drill, so I'll just do it on this side just to show you what I'm about. So all I have to do there is we'll say we measure 75. I'm going to go, just in old money, I'm going to go 3 3/16, which is 81 mil. So I'm just going to go 81 mil from the bottom and the top. So I'll stay with old money here, simply because it's easier to mark. And no big deal there. I'll square a line on here. Now in this case I'm just taking privileges, I should say, because I already have the back fence set. So the distance I'll just push this down here anywhere. This is just a waste piece, and I'll show you on camera there, if you can see that mark there, that pinpoint there, that guy. That there is 7/8 of an inch from the front edge. We get away with 13/16 as well, but 7/8 I prefer to use it. With the older hinges it used to be 13/16. It was kind of a religious figure you had to remember. Anyway, so that's the distance in. So my back fence, my sub fence from the fence there to the center point is 7/8 of an inch. And I've already got the distances marked here, but anyway. So normally speaking, I will drill the hole and I'll set the depth like so, to make sure it certainly doesn't come through the front of the unit, because we can't have that. So for the hinges, there's a little depth on the hinge there. It's normally about 10 mil, so you go down about 10 mil, maybe it's 11. But anyway, enough to take the hinge so as it sits flush. That's all that's required. So we go down there, turn on my drill. Now I normally wear masks for this. Just to be on camera, I'm not wearing it. Now, that's the 2 plumb hinge recesses drilled. Now while I'm on the bottom end here, I put a mark along the bottom here, and I put a mark onto the front edge there. You may not be able to see it on camera, but to mark the top hinge, I have a line going across here which demarcates where the top hinge is from the center and from the bottom end here. So I don't have to go measuring each door. I measure once and I drill them all then. So that's the process that I had there. The hinge will sit into the recess there. I've already got that set, but that's the hinging process for plums. That's a 32 mil bit. I think that's 32, or maybe it's 35, not sure. Doesn't matter. Make sure it's tungsten tip. So that's a tungsten tip bit, which will cut cleanly, accurately, and will do quite a few hundred units without having to be resharpened or discarded and thrown away. So I always use tungsten tip cutters on a drill press. You notice the speed there isn't huge. You don't need huge speed for it, because it's going through a Formica first and then into MDF. So I don't need huge speed. Give the tool enough time to cut. Don't want it too fast, don't want it too slow. That's the basis of the video, is just to highlight the process of putting the plumb hinge recesses into a door. So my doors are ready to be drilled now. As I said, this is a dummy. It's set up. I can use this dummy then to put the doors on, or put the plates on all the carcasses that I have over there, and you'll see that on another video. So that's the hinging process, very straightforward. And when we go back to the bench, we'll just show what we do in order to put on the hinge. So we'll do that now. Now, just to complete the process here, I've just shown the hinging situation there on the drill press. So you've been drilled. When you put in a plumb like that, 90 degrees in any endeavour you have in a workshop or on site or whatever the case may be, 90 degrees is a vital angle to have all the time. So we can't have the hinge like that, tilted fore or aft. It has to be 90 degrees. What I do is very simple. Some people will be trying to hold them. I just literally get a combination square, pop the combination square up against the edge, hold it tight, drill the centre of the first one, and it's the hole that needs to be accurate. Now you can get self-centering drill bits with a tip on the front of them to guide it inaccurately. I've no such luxuries in the workshop here. I always like to rely on skill sets all the time. Now the screw put in here then is a 4x30 again. So make sure that the plate now moved a tiny bit there. So what I do is I just pull that back, make sure it's accurate, go back and do the second one. I'll pull it the other way because I just put it off centre. Now that's always down to skill. Other fellas will have other ways of doing it and maybe better ways. It's irrelevant to me. Now I can put in a 20 or a 20mm screw in that simply because the doors that I'm going to have are 22mm in thickness plus the height of the hinge there as well. So a 20mm screw will give it plenty of oomph and strength. Go to the other side. Same thing here, I just marry it up. Now as I say, some people do that, take the square away. I like to keep it in position there all the time until I get in pilot hole there, and we can do the second pilot hole as well, but just make sure they're on centre. Start the hole slowly so you know you're right. And if I show them there, you can see how accurate they are there in centre. Oh, that came up on camera, maybe it did. Anyway, totally irrelevant again. So I'm just repeating what I did at the far side. This is just for camera. It's what I did earlier. Another Doreen Allen job. Wrong drill. Again, you don't want the impact. When it goes down to the end there, you don't want to keep driving with that impact. You don't want this. All that does is it pulls the thread, the grip, out of the MDF or the chipboard, whatever the case may be. So impacting at this level is a no-no. You don't want that impact. So that's the downside of the impact drills. Drive it to be Jesus. That's not what it's about. You've got to be able to sense and feel where it's coming from, even with the new modern drill. So that's Blum. The little clip there now that we have shows how they're marked, the depth in, the distance from the end in, the depth in to the centre for the plate, and then the distance down, distance in again. Drill them to depth, making sure they don't come through the front obviously. In these cases, I just have another one here. So if I take my tape, the depth that I have here is just 12 mil, is it? 12 mil. So the depth I have to go down is 12.5 mil to make sure that that particular part of the plate sits flush with the front surface of the door. So that's it, that's our Blums. And as I said, we have our hinges then there, clip on. Maybe I have a plate here, don't I have one plate here, I have one plate here. So this guy goes on like so and just clips in position. There's also two adjusting screws on it. This one pulls the door in or out like so, and this one here pulls the door, it'll pull the door that way or it'll pull the door that way. So if I want to get two doors closer together, we'll show that when we fit the doors, or when the doors are fitted and out on site when we actually have it in together. So that's the whole process, hinging, plating, and on the next little clip you'll see the application, how the plate is fitted on then to the door itself. So I just use a dummy door height, which is 715, and put two hinges on it. And I'll use that now to do all doors. So I don't need two sets of hinges, so in this case, as I said, it's just for you guys on camera. So we take those guys out of there. And we don't need them. Actually, I'll put in. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, I'm using symmetry top and bottom. Why? Because I'll have doors that are left-handed and right-handed, so if the distance was different, I'd have to allow for it. I couldn't just flip it over and fit it onto the next door. You'll see, understand what I'm on about there. So that's it, that's the hinging process. Height up, height down, height in, and depth into the MDF, and that's our lump process. Clip on hinge, clip onto the unit, clip off. This is a template panel that I use just for fitting plates onto the carcasses themselves. So that's that. Hope that's useful. Over and out.